Hi guys, it's your Island Girl and I'm back with another reaction video for you tonight. And tonight we are reacting to cultural shock in England. So they're saying 10 things that shocked Americans while they're in what? England. So it's your Island Girl and we are going to get right into this video. So if you're new to my channel, it's your first time here, come on in, right back, put a smile on your face and enjoy this reaction with your Island Girl. Don't forget to go into the comment section, tell me what you'd like me to react to next because it will be done. Alright, to all my sweetie pies, my sweetie poos, thank you for being here with your girl. Come on in, back, put a smile on your face and enjoy. To my amazing Patreon member that I have, Leo and Dave R, thank you so much for supporting me over on Patreon. Guys, if you wish to support me on Patreon, the link will be in the description below. Alright, without further ado, let's get into this video. Alright, here we go.
Hey guys, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
And today we are going to tell you 10 things that were culture shock for us when we arrived here in England.
The first thing that shocked us when we arrived in England was just how many foreigners there are in London.
We'd always heard that London was multicultural, but just the extent of foreigners that were there was really shocking to us. And not in a bad way, it was just surprising because when we were coming to England, we're like, oh, there's probably gonna be a lot of English people and we'll be hearing lots of English. But when we were in public, about 90% of the languages we were hearing around us were foreign languages and not English.
Pretty much everywhere was represented in London, so that was really cool. And to just hear all of the different languages. Because we feel like, I mean, Seattle's pretty multicultural as well, but not to the extent of London. Like,
No way.
Just all of the languages and everyone speaking different languages in like the restaurants. We'd be sitting at our table and each table was speaking a different language.
This
That
happened.
is crazy. That is crazy. In London, I know it's a tourism hub, but 90% speaks a different language. That's a big one. Wow, interesting.
Table was speaking a different language.
This happened every time we went
Yeah,
out to
pretty
eat,
much every time.
basically.
There'd be like the table of Koreans. We could always hear them because understand a
Korea.
tiny bit of Korean. So we were like,
We lived in Korea for 2 years, for
yeah,
those
so
of
we're
you who
like,
don't know.
the Koreans, French people,
Wow.
Eastern European people, just everywhere.
Interesting.
Number
Number 2, the subways are really small. It was actually shocking because our experience with subways is in Korea and Japan, and these subways are very wide. There's lots of standing room. They're also very tall, but the tube, as it's called in London, actually looks kind of like a tube. Yeah, it made sense.
It's like not tall, or at least the ones that we rode on were not tall, like all the way across on the ceiling, but it's kind of
not
like
like a box
curved or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like
Interesting.
curved. Maybe not all of them are that way, but the ones that we rode on were that way. So
Yeah.
that was interesting.
It was just surprising and shocking how small the tube was, at least the tubes that we rode.
Speaking of tubes, that brings us to number 3.
I can understand the subway and the tube, how small, when they say small, because I get it. Because in New York, the tubes are not really small, are they? No, you stand, it's tall enough. It's pretty tall. So if that's their tube are small, that is kind of a little bit weird, but I don't think it's that shocking. But well, I think it should be huger based on how they're explaining. But well, I'll see when I get there. Let's see.
I love how English people wait patiently for people who are on the tube to get off before getting on the tube themselves. That is something I just... After living in Korea for a couple years, you'll know that is not the case. As soon as the subway doors open and the train stops, everyone in Korea is just like pushing everybody else and getting on the subway as fast
Same
as
thing
they
in New
can.
York.
So it was nice
No
to go to a
patience.
place where everyone just stands aside and waits for those people who are on the train to get off, which is what should happen.
This was actually so shocking that the very first time we rode the tube, when the doors opened and everyone was waiting for people to get off, Grace turned to me and made that observation. She's like, oh my gosh, they're waiting for people to get off. What is this? Number 4, this is just a...
That is true. This is, I can't stand it. Here, when you're in New York and you're riding on the subway, No one has no mercy for waiting for persons to get on or get off. Persons getting off is trying to fight their way off. Persons getting on and rushing to get on. Because one thing I don't like too, the length of time that you have to get on and people have to get on. Because the door closes so fast. It's crazy. But I can appreciate that. Courtesy. That's good on you guys.
Really quick one, but light switches here are different than they are in the States, and whereas in the States and Korea and other countries, you flip on to turn the light switch on,
flip up, yeah.
Flip up to turn
Yeah,
it on,
turn it on.
and
Flip
flip down to turn it off. Here,
Okay.
It's the opposite.
yeah, from what we've seen, you flip up to turn it off and flip down to turn it on.
Number 5. The other thing that we found surprising when we arrived in England was...
Hold on. That was a quick pause. I'm sorry. That is weird. That is shocking. You flip up to turn off and you flip down to turn on. I would be mightily confused with that because normally you flip up to turn on and flip down to turn off. Interesting. I've never seen anything like that. With me living here or living in Jamaica, I've never seen anything like that. So that one is a shocker.
When we arrived in England was that power outlets have to be switched on to use them. So it has like a little switch next to it and you have to turn it on in order to use electronic appliances. So many times we've tried to boil like hot water for tea or coffee.
Or charge my phone.
And
That's
you
a
forget
new
to
one.
switch the power outlet on and
Switch
it doesn't
the power
charge
on?
or the water doesn't boil and you're like, I kind of like that though because as I heard someone say the other day, it prevents like children from sticking things into the sockets and getting electrocuted. So
that
I like
makes
idea.
sense.
And then also, like in America, when we go on vacation or something like that, you have to run around the house and unplug everything.
Yeah.
So it
It's
doesn't- so it's not a
exhausting.
firehouse.
Or even like every night you try to like unplug it, you know?
Yeah. Here, you just turn the outlets off. So that's actually kind of cool. It was shocking, but it's kind of cool, and we'll probably try to do that on our own house one day.
Yeah, I like that.
That's definitely a shocker right there. I would agree. You turn your power switch off. Interesting. But it's a good idea. Based on having kids, because we use a little power socket to push into the wall to keep babies from hurting themselves. So I can understand turning it on and off. And yeah, when you're going out, you try to run around and shut everything off, turn everything, make sure everything is unplugged. That's a great idea. I think they should pick up on something like that because it saves you altogether with everything. That is amazing. That's 2 right there on you guys. That's it's a shocker, but I can get used to it. But that's the way to go. That's a better way to go.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Something else that has been a little shocking for us is that tipping here is a bit different than back in the States.
Yeah.
Whereas in the States, when you go to a restaurant, any receipt that you get is going to have a tip line where you write the tip. Here at restaurants, they don't have that. And most cafes don't even have a tip jar. And so it's been really confusing for us to figure out what we do for tipping.
I've heard also that tipping is super minimal here. Like if at all, it's
Yeah.
like just really minimal. So that's definitely different than America, where as a server, you're like 20% or you're a bad table sort of.
Yeah. Question though, for the English folk in the audience, when I'm at a restaurant and they give me a receipt that doesn't have a tip line or anything on it, what am I supposed to do? Do I tip? Or is
Do you
that
just
just
leave
like
it on
a
the
no
table?
tip? Yeah, do you leave it on the table? Or is that just like we all agree that there's no tipping going on in this situation? Please let me know down in the comments so I don't make any social faux pas.
Number 7.
Okay, before they move on to number 7. Where the tipping is concerned, I can understand. I did a video the other day and you guys corrected me and said, yes, we do tip, okay? But it's not the norm for us to tip because guess what? Our waiters are making money. They're paid properly. It's not like here in the US where they're paid a dime. It's so small. So they really do well from getting a tip. All right, so that it's the norm for us to tip here. Not only that, they don't get paid well. Personally, it's normal for me to tip, and not only that, it's the way that they serve you. You know, the service is appreciated, so we tip based on that as well. But on a side note, you don't have to tip if you don't want to. Yeah, they'll have an attitude. Some may have an attitude. Some, they'll just, but yeah. And some will mark you out if you're a regular and you don't tip when you go there. Then yeah, they'll have a little stinky attitude. But apart from that, yeah, if you don't feel like tipping, you don't have to. But you know, it's just become the norm to tip here, knowing that their salary is not all that, and you tip also based on their service, the way they treat you and handle you while you're there having fun and eating. So yeah, and I get it, how you guys, from what you have explained in the comment section on the last video I did about tipping, so I get it.
Real quick, I was just going to mention that in grocery stores here in England, they generally have a much larger selection of cheese than they do back home in the States, which I'm not going to complain about. I love that.
Amazing.
I think it's just a lot more in the culture here, I guess, than it is back home. Whereas back home, you usually only have like a couple different kinds of cheese to choose from, and not
Cheddar,
like
Gouda.
Yeah, not like mozzarella or Parmesan.
Mozzarella, yeah.
Not like specialty cheeses. Here you'll have like many different types, and they'll be different ages as well.
Number 8. This is one.
So I guess you guys are all about your cheeses. Your cheeses. Sounds weird a little bit. But cheese on a whole, yeah. No, you're not gonna find a variety of cheese in the grocery section. You just, like they said, your regular mozzarella and all of that. Yeah, it's not an aged cheese and all of that. But I'm not a cheese person. Let me put it that way. In Jamaica, I only used to eat one kind of cheese. Tasty cheese, and that's it. And I don't do cheese. I don't do macaroni and cheese. I am overall not a cheese person, so I get it. But I guess you guys really do love cheese.
You hear a lot, probably, but we don't know which direction to look when we cross the road. And this is for a couple of reasons. One, people here drive on the left side of the road, and so that's confusing. But two, there are also a ton of one-way streets here, both in London and in the villages that we've been in and towns. Lots of one-way streets that aren't obvious one-way streets. And so when we cross, it is so confusing to know
which way to look.
And so
it's quite dangerous, actually.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm in fear of being struck by an automobile. That sounded ridiculous.
That was yeah. We're working on our English accent.
That wasn't an English accent. That was just me.
Sounding like an English person.
In London, though, there is a nice, I think it's so polite.
Okay, let me put this. I'm gonna put it that way. That's silly. It doesn't matter if you're in England, it doesn't matter where you are. You always look left, you always look right. You look up the street, you're down the street. When you're growing up, that's what you were taught. So to me, it doesn't matter where you are. You look in both directions to see if there's any oncoming vehicle before you cross the road. Come on, it's just common sense, in my opinion. That's common sense. Come on, people. Not because you drive on the left, that means you don't know where to. Come on, that one right there, nah. I can understand if you're on a one-way street and you don't know if it's a one-way street, then yeah, a little bit, but no. The look before you cross.
I think it's so polite and courteous how they put on the ground, like, look this way.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Before crossing the street, there's like paint on the side of it that
look
says,
left.
Look left.
Interesting.
Or look right. Or look both ways.
Nice.
And so I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, oh,
that's nice.
That was really good.
But you need to
English
look.
folk have our back.
They know we're stupid.
Number 9. This is more of a question, but it's
it.
also a very big culture shock. Why are there 2 separate spigots for hot and cold water? This, like, somebody please explain. I don't understand this. Like, do you want to wash your hands in freezing cold water and not kill any of the germs? I don't know if that's correct, but whatever, that's what I think. Or do you want to scald yourself so that you can't even feel and then you have to be fed by your husband for the next few days?
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
choose.
It is very confusing, and this is not just something we've seen in homes, but we've seen it in museums, in churches, in cafes, in
It's
restaurants.
like everywhere in the restroom.
Yeah.
It's 2 separate.
2 separate spigots, and you get scalding hot water, or you get freezing
Ice.
cold water.
And so, like, what I was doing, I know this
You
is
just stand up and
ridiculous,
go and
but yeah,
throw
I was
them
just
together.
like throwing them together and like. Somebody explain, because somebody's got an explanation for why
there's a
this is
reason.
better, I'm sure.
Explain it to us.
It's not.
Number 10, it was...
Okay, so I get it. It was explained to me in another video why you guys have it that way. It's older buildings, and it was that's the case from a longer time. And it's understandable. That's how the water system was set up. And I get it. But you guys need to change that. You all need to change that. That just, yeah. It don't make no sense. Don't make no sense. Alright?
Shocking to us how much people jaywalk here. We had been warned by friends that, hey, just so you know, in London, it's okay to jaywalk. But when we came here, it was just surprising to see how frequently everyone jaywalks. Literally everyone jaywalks all the time. Yeah, it's constant jaywalking. And we're coming from Seattle, which is, I think, in the United States, we are famous for being a city that no one jaywalks in. So it was really shocking to come to England and no one, it's just like
constant jaywalking.
Look, run. Look, run.
Which makes you feel extremely stressed out as foreigners because we don't know which way to look. So we're like, oh, we can't just wait for this light, which is gonna last forever. We should jaywalk, but then we don't know which direction the cars are coming from. So if we jaywalk, we might die. So it's kind of like,
and then you know who the foreigners are because they're the ones that are waiting for the light.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
That. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you've ever visited England, do drop a comment down.
Jaywalking, that's illegal here. Because we have traffic running both ways. But I get it. Your guys' system is different. That's a shocker though, the jaywalking. Just wait on the light. Just wait your turn to walk across. You'll get your turn. That's just how I see it. So jaywalking is a big no. But I guess it's the norm for you guys, which people need to. It's cultural differences. Here we go again. Cultural differences. It's either you adapt or you don't adapt to it. It's simple as that. That was a pretty good eye-opener. That's something to look forward to when I get there. Some of the light switch and the socket turning on the light. And what else? The jaywalking. Those are some of the things to look forward to. Interesting. And then the language barrier with it. But I guess that has to do with England and a whole. Not England. I'm sorry, guys. But I guess that has to do with London because there's a lot of tourists that comes in and out, so that's understandable. And the tipping. Not only that, do you want to tip? Do you want them to expect you for tipping as a tourist, or just go along with their flow, the way they do things? You just never know. But guess what? We all have to learn to adjust. It's your island girl, and I'm skedaddling out. That was very informative. Some of it. It's the island girl, and I'm skedaddling out of here. Don't forget to go in the comment section. Tell me what you'd like me to react to next because it will be done. I love you guys, and I'll catch you guys in another video. Bye.